Hey, good morning, everybody. How the heck are we doing today?
Doing
Good
great.
morning.
Doing awesome.
Oh,
Best day ever, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Best day ever. Um, Good to see everybody today. Jared, Christina, Kevin, thanks for joining us today. Nice to have you here. But it's good to see Jason and Aaron and Jason Romans and Jack. Well, hey, Donald joins as well. So good to see everybody. How are you guys doing?
Oh, maybe
What?
Donald's back from vacation.
Back from vacation? Well, that's nice. Where do we go on vacation, Donald? Any place fun? Anybody know?
Now that we get to know all of your personal details on Livestream.
Can we get it recorded, please?
Yes. I will say straight up. Thank you for all the support last week. Had a little bit of a family emergency happen where like had to like suddenly go to North Carolina and back. We made that trip down and back in like less than like 80 hours. So it was a massive amount of driving and interesting weather. And I learned uh, not only do I not know how to back up a trailer, the place to learn how that you do not know how to back up a trailer is not in the middle of a torrential rainstorm in front of 50 truckers
Oh, oh
in a
no.
truck stop, blocking all of the trucks from leaving the truck stop. It's the worst place to learn about that.
Did
Or
any of
it
them
could be
help?
the best place to learn.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Because
many lessons learned.
if you want to run under pressure, you're going to be under pressure there.
Yes, yeah. It was very fun. We literally at midnight. The rain started so hard that like we literally just had to stop on the highway because we couldn't see the lights in front of our car. Like the lights of the car disappeared on us. When that let up so we could see like a foot or two in front of us, we pulled off. We were just at an exit ramp and the first sign was an entry to a truck stop. So I went in there. Unfortunately, the sign was that we couldn't see was exit only. And
No.
it was a truck refueling stop, and there were 50 trucks like that I couldn't see because it was all black. And then the rain let up, and I saw the lights of 50 trucks like right in front of me. Like, oh, and then we had to back up and get out of there. It, crazy, crazy
Wow.
stuff. Um,
That's like movie script quality stuff. Like you need to keep records of like you have the most interesting anecdotes, I feel like. You just run into these situations again and again, and I'm like, I need the autobiography.
well,
Pictures are different. Didn't happen.
yeah, I gotta tell you, I don't know how you'd pull off this effect in a movie theater without like CGI and stuff because it was pitch black with rain, and then all of a sudden it let up and like the trucks were only 20 feet in front of me with all these lights blaring on me. It was crazy. It was like a movie theater where they pulled the curtain back and were like, aha, trucks.
It just makes me think of The Mist, by
Yeah,
Stephen King.
yeah,
That's
Mhm.
what it makes me think of. I'm like, you're lucky it was just trucks, Chris. You're lucky.
yeah. Yeah, it was another best day ever, and we ended up getting out of it. It was just fine, and like we literally got out and back on the road, and like the next little thing we pulled into was a hotel that had a room for us and a place where I could park the car with the trailer where I didn't have to back out again. So I mean, like you couldn't write a better. Like you couldn't set this up any better, right? Like if we had blockers and you had like a Hollywood studio people, like okay, line up the trucks, like queue up the hotel. Like
But the next hotel wasn't the Bates Motel.
it was not. No, it wasn't.
Maybe that's
No.
like way too old of a reference.
Yeah.
It's not that
This
old,
is getting
Kevin.
rather
Yeah.
dark rather quickly.
Yeah. It was. It worked out really, really well. And then we had a very similar situation on the way back, but like very perfect. It was. It. We went down. We dealt with their stuff. We're back. And so we're back and we're talking with you guys. So excited to be here. So we are always having the best day ever. So And I'll say, if you come in with that attitude of like, hey, we're very fortunate, blessed, and having a great day, even difficult things like that are a piece.
You could get over it better, right? You could make it through it.
Right.
Positive attitude.
That is so perfectly spot on.
So switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of not backing in, we need Copilot, right?
Well, no,
Sorry.
I was what I was going to do because in our 10-minute break there, I happened to get up on Reddit and somebody looking for tickets to FabCon and
Oh.
FabCon Vienna, and so it just kind of reminded me, like, if you're thinking of going there, early bird pricing. I did get on the site; it's still in effect, and so I personally don't have any discount codes because I think this person was looking to get there even cheaper. But I did a search, and use your when you use your favorite search engine, and Bing will give you back some information that has some links that have a potential discount code. So yeah, that's the one. You don't see my reply there yet? Maybe it just hasn't. There we go.
I
Oh,
my
you
reply.
replied too. Wow.
Yeah. Boy.
What a
we are all on.
That's hysterical. What do you do from the time that we talk about the episode to the episode starts? Here you go.
and now you all know what it is Kevin and I do. Yeah. Hey, look at this, a bit of celebration. Holy cow.
Nice.
Uchekuwu. Boy,
Very
I hope
good.
you think I'm close on that one?
You're closer than I could ever get.
Uchechuku.
All right, man. Well, hey,
Congrats.
you, great job, man. That's awesome.
Good for you.
I have not passed my DP 600. Do you guys have your DP 600?
I have not
I
taken
do.
it, so I can't
Maybe
I
say
haven't
that I.
taken
for it.
Oh, Jared's on top of it.
Very nice. So, Jared, having taken the DP 600, and you, you post in the comments, what tips would you give for someone who's preparing for the DP 600?
Oh gosh. For 600 especially, semantic models DAX is incredibly important. That's
Okay.
a lot of what that exam focuses on, as opposed to the 700, which very much, if you've done DP203, which I've done both, you focus a lot more on the other aspects of it. But 600 is going to focus very heavily on semantic models. It does touch on some other areas, but a lot of it is in support of semantic models. So if you don't understand semantic models, you don't understand DAX, read up on that. That will at least give you the baseline of what is important to DP 600, and the rest will flow from there.
Awesome. That's a great tip. Great tip. And if you guys are not familiar with our fabric, let's also put a little plug in for that one. Out on Reddit, there's a growing community out here. Oh wow, there's 15,000 members. And there's 24 of you are online right now. So hey, that's exciting. But
Wait,
do
let me
check
sign
this
off.
out. I do know that we want to be here. Our fabric. I do know that this is something that is Alex Powers is putting significant hours and effort into getting up and running. So do check this one out. It's a good place to be.
And he puts a lot of time into it, and he keeps pushing it around the product team.
Yep.
I'm shocked at the number of people from the product team that get in there, listen, respond. I've seen one where they invited people, to private message them and offered to meet. People have had, problems solved with the product team because of it. So they take a lot of input from there. So that it's the place to be.
Yeah. So, Jared or Christina, have you guys had any interactions with the product team like that where they've openly talked with you about features or functions that you need?
Yeah, mostly in the context of conferences. So typically I'll
same.
go to a session and the latest one was on the admin monitoring. It's no secret. I'm not a huge fan. So I end up chatting with them a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely have had good conversations. But
Yeah, same context of conferences. You run into them, you get the chance to bend their ear on things and have a nice conversation about it.
Mhm.
That's about as far as my experience has gone as well.
Well, yeah, the conferences are a great place for that. But if you do not have access to the conferences,
Right.
it's these type of forums that they are actively going through and responding to feedback. And I'll say 17 years ago, what switched me from Tableau over to Power BI was an interaction with the product manager on a forum. No, it wasn't Reddit at the time, but it was a
MySpace.
forum. Yeah, yeah, it was MySpace. It was a MySpace forum.
like, what was your music? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But I went on and I said, hey, it would be really great if we could be able to sort the items in a matrix by the names or the amounts on the side, because you couldn't sort 17 years ago. And a person on the product team called me up that afternoon. Like, they tracked down my name, they tracked down my phone number, and I got a phone call from them asking, like, hey, can we talk about how this should work when it came to sorting in Power BI? And I'm like, is this a spam call? Are you like are you offering me money? Do I have to wire you
Yeah.
cash? Like, like
And so then I asked Phil, "What do you really mean? You know, how did you find me?"
right. But no, it was a PM on the product BI team at the time who wanted to know, like, about sorting, and that we spent 20 minutes talking about how sorting should or should not work. And like, literally less than 2 weeks later, there was a sorting function in the build in Power BI, and I was like, okay, nobody from Tableau has ever asked me jack about Jack, and I've been
Mhm.
on the platform for a long time at that point. And I'm like, I can tell you which way the direction's going to go when it comes to products and feedback. Like,
Yeah.
people like that. So that's when I switched. All right, but we're not here talking about forums. We're not here talking about all that good stuff. We are here today talking about Copilot in Power BI and Fabric. So, Kevin,
Copilot everything.
yeah, Copilot everything. Kevin, what's your knowledge or background in these Copilot in Fabric and stuff?
In Fabric and Power BI, like little to none. So this is going to be educating me. I use Copilot in Visual Studio Code,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of watch a lot of those things. In fact, I think it was just yesterday they rolled out some more features with Visual Studio Code and an update on that. It's getting into all that vibe coding. Unfortunately, it seems like all the things that I watch, they're always vibe coding a website. And so
Yeah.
yesterday with the one I'm watching, I'm going, I wonder if I could vibe code some data engineering patterns or something like that. So that may be a new weekend thing. So stay tuned. It's coming up. But yeah, I've been using it more for the coding side. And I think we've talked about this before, just getting in and having a problem solved with SQL or Python, SQL being either T-SQL or Spark SQL, because I'll even put that into my prompts. It does great in Visual Studio Code. But from what you've seen up on Power BI on the service, where can I go from here? How can I get even better up on Fabric? And is it just Power BI? Is it other stuff? I got so many
There's a whole
questions.
bunch of stuff we're going to get into.
Let me
Yeah, we'll definitely hit on that.
Spoiler alert. Come on,
Yeah,
Kevin.
spoiler alerts.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah. Chris, what's been your experience with Copilot and Fabric and Power BI so far?
It's very similar to Kevin's. I've run into more companies that are looking for ways to make it viable. So
Mm-hmm.
looking for, hey, how would I make this work in my organization? And I think that's something we're going to talk about more today as well. But I will say this, every single conversation I have with somebody like that, I look at their models and they have 200 tables, lots of many-to-manys, and sometimes they don't have business friendly names. Like the columns are like U1532, and like somebody just knows what that means. And you're
Right.
like, well, this is gonna be really hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Unfortunately, AI is not magic. It feels like it, but even potions have recipes, right? And I think
Right.
AI is the same.
That's a great point, and we're going to dive into some of how to put that magical elixir together. I like that. And but before we dive into that, I want to hit on DataBard. You've got some incredible videos out there recently on Copilot
Yeah.
and SSMS. Can you tell us about your experience with these?
Yeah, so this has been a very interesting journey for me. So I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with the private preview of SSMS Copilot. And honestly, like, first of all, at least thanks to Microsoft for all the work that you're putting in on SSMS and everything here, because this has been something I have been waiting for years. Um like, even that was one of the first videos I put out on this YouTube channel, was about some of the things that I like about SSMS and some things that I'd like to see improved in SSMS. And then they released SSMS 21. I'm like, and then they're like, oh, and it has a Copilot. I'm like, so I'm like, okay, we have to start building content on this and telling people. So yes, this is the start of what I'm going to be doing a series on my YouTube channel, because like I love trying to find ways to help developers especially be more efficient with what they do. And things like Copilots, the Copilot that we'll be talking about today in Power BI, the one I talk about in SSMS, that's what it's intended for. It's intended to make you more efficient. And that's where at least I'll be curious about it today. Because SSMS, the big problem is trying to solve is, how do you get the Copilot context about your database environment? And that helps you do some very awesome things compared to just working with like a chat GPT where you have to pass it all that information. So that is I have the two videos out right now. One is just setting things up, but the other one is, starting with the new Copilot and such. Maybe some weird things happen with the UI, and I highlight a couple of those things in that second video. So check them out.
Well, we will definitely have to do that. Thank you for putting all that together and sharing it for you. Um, uh, oh, God bless it. Jared, make sure you post in the chat your link to your channel. I literally, unfortunately, just closed your because
I got you. Move on.
because I'm brand new to this whole like live stream thing, and I'm a new YouTuber, so I don't
Figure
do
it
this
out
right.
one day.
Yeah,
Lots
it's
of grace,
Monday.
Chris. Lots of grace. You're still in that grace period, of
Well, thank
YouTubing.
you.
10 years.
Yeah. I just saw I cracked 1,300 videos on YouTube. Like, so wait a minute, what the heck
Exciting.
happened? Oh, I see what's going on. All right, what are we talking about though here? Well, we want to get into today, and boy, are we long in the tooth in getting to it. But we want to be talking about this new Copilot experience. Some of you have seen this show up inside your tab, where you just see there's now Copilot is an experience that is on your screen. Some of you don't, because and here's where you can get a link to like all of this stuff and how it works and whatnot. But it's odd. This was on by default. I just saw this capability. I was traveling. I came in one day, it wasn't there. I looked the next day and it was. I was very excited about that. But all of this is controlled inside of the admin settings. And specifically, you have to, I believe, have these two settings enabled, right? First being users can use Copilot and other features powered by Azure OpenAI. And then also users can access a standalone cross-item Power BI Copilot Experience preview. This is the new capability that we're talking about. Kevin, Christina, were these enabled for you inside your tenant by default?
No.
The top one was for me, but not the bottom one. Not the users can access a standalone cross item.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and the multiple tenants I work on, the one my personal I looked at this morning, but I haven't seen it on any of mine. So they must have known that you know, like Copilot must have turned it on for you. It must have known you wanted to really look into this.
Yeah, do you have an agent, Chris, that goes in and enables all these preview features in your admin portal?
I do not. I do go in on a regular basis, and I go to the new section, and I'm looking at all the new things, and I proactively for this channel and for like my job, I go and enable and turn things on to make sure things are up and running and useful. But like, yeah, I'll like piece through this and make sure it's up and functioning. But those are the two that you have to have enabled. Okay.
So you may need to get your tenant admin to take care of it.
Correct. And this is what the experience looks like. Okay. So when you go in, it's got this Copilot. Let's talk about what this Copilot is going to do. And let's talk about what this Copilot is not going to do. So number one, it's not magic, as Christina said, and we're going to actually show you how to like prep and get your models and your content ready for AI. But this is going to look across all of your data, everything that is in Fabric, and it's going to look at the metadata and attempt to generate responses and answers based upon the metadata that's in the system. Now, to Christina's point, if your metadata is incomprehensible to to a human or an AI, your results are going to suck. Okay. Where's my book? Well, actually, it's going to suck. And it's not the AI's fault that it's going to suck. It's going to be because you don't have labels. You don't have proper context or descriptions or anything on your data to make it consumable by people. Okay. So let's start off by doing that. So good data governance is a key.
Can I back you up onto the setup? Just one more thing, because you probably did this, and because I was changing mine today. But like when I come into this, the first thing that I get is select a workspace. So what I believe you need to do is have a workspace that is on a paid capacity that has Copilot enabled in order to use this, because and maybe you did that already, right? But you're going to have mine right now shows a page that says connect to a workspace that supports Copilot.
Right. So I do have a Fabric capacity Eagle. Where is my?
And the other page you were on was the intro page, right? The Copilot introduction.
It's not supposed to be disabled. It's supposed to be enabled. Why is this disabled?
Well, I think that's just to say this is.
Does it require you to put in an email?
You could do the entire org, but
no, I can't do the entire org.
Oh, strange.
That's the one to designate a particular capacity that all the other ones use, right? But
yeah,
I don't think you have to have that setting, but you will need to select one when you're.
Is that for delegating?
Right, the delegation.
For delegating the compute that the Copilot uses to a different capacity other than what the workspace does, because that was a I forget if that was from FabCon or if that was a previous announcement where the initial way they were trying to enable Copilot for more people, instead of just opening it up to all SKUs, was you could designate like a single F64 SKU, which at that point was where Copilot would be enabled, and then other workspaces might be tethered to a different capacity, but you could have it tethered to a capacity specifically for its Copilot consumption. I think that's what that setting for.
Yes, that's designating one for that. Yeah, you're exactly right. So even though you're doing something in a particular workspace, the billing goes against the capacity that other workspace, the designated one, is on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's interesting, Kevin. Are you able to share your screen, or did you already select a workspace?
No, I haven't selected it yet. Let me.
You want to share your screen and show us what you're seeing?
Yeah. Hopefully this will catch up with this. Share screen.
Because you know how we like to do things. We like to do things on the fly. You know.
Yeah.
Like we might not be prepared, but there we go. All right.
Yeah, so this is what I have, and I just turned it on the admin settings, and I don't have a capacity running at this point. So I'd have to go turn that on and everything. But I'm assuming this is going to come back with no workspaces available because I have nothing running at
Well, that's interesting, and I don't see that. Maybe I selected this at some point in time. I don't believe I ever remember seeing this before.
Maybe you
Yeah.
played with
FBI
it.
has some data gods making mischief in his tenant.
Oh my gosh!
Well, why don't you continue on with your part of it? And what I'll do is go turn my capacity on, and I could grab some screenshots as I go if there's anything else that comes up from it.
Well, oh my gosh! If there's anyone from Microsoft that if I'm showing a preview feature here, please someone let me know.
I don't think you are.
I don't think so either.
I believe this is all live good stuff to be showing, but
if you are, it was nice for all of us to be in the MVP program for a while.
Welcome to Breaking NDAs. My name is Swagger. This is how I lose my MVP.
On accident.
Yeah. And please don't hold Kevin, Christina, or Jared responsible for this. This is not on purpose. So, no, I believe this is all public. It's out. You can see the standalone Copilot experience in Power BI. You can see how this all sets up and works. It's interesting. It doesn't outline here any place where you need to go to put in that workspace. So, Kevin, it's an interesting conundrum that you've gone through. All right.
I'm doing it on mine too, just to see if I've got the same experience.
You do? Okay. All right. Let's go in and let's talk about what this can do, because this is going to go over and look at all of your reports. This is going to go over all of your content. It is primarily going to be looking at reports and information, but you can do things to get better results. So I'm going to start natively and show you okay, hey, let's talk about. I'm going to start my prompt by just clicking on one of these things. And when I click on this, you'll see that it'll start to prep me for something, right? Find reports about, and I'll say sales. And I'll hit enter. And we're doing it live. So let's see how this works. Breaking NDA. Look at this. So it gave me, hey, here's a whole bunch. Well, this is just like a glorified search, right? So here's all the sales reports that are out in my that I have access to and content from. So if I go in and look, it pops open a new tab, takes me right to my sales item report. And I'm going to guess it's because it has sales in the name. Oh, yeah. And this is some crappy report that I put out there. So, all right, fair enough. Reseller sales by product. Let's see what we get here. I mean, it is finding all my sales reports, so that's good, but that's just a glorified sales function, right? Oh,
Beautiful.
is this? Yeah. Yeah, what a report. Boy, it would be great if I could rate each one of these as to whether or not this is any good. Right, what was this? Report usage metrics report. Okay, no, that's gonna be garbage. Yeah. I'm gonna actually give this one a dislike. I don't like those. Gave me only reports that have sales in the name and not the content. Okay. We'll see if that gets any feedback there. Okay, so we'll clear the chat. Let's start again. Right. Here's a good one. Use semantic. Where did that go? Chris is the one who knocked. Oh my gosh, that's a new series. I got to do that now. Breaking NDA. In conjunction with Microsoft partners and improved. I'm not actually going to break NDA. That would be fun. Oh, okay. So, but you can kind of do this stuff like, oh, look at that. Hang on. Get a summary. Prep a summary for my team about a given report. And when I do that, it asks me to go in and select which report I want a summary of. So I go and say, hey, prep a summary for my team about this report, and I hit enter. And it's now going to look at this report. OpenAI is going to open this thing up. It's going to run against this. Yeah. And yes, Jenna,
While
we're going
it's
to get to
running,
exactly what you're talking about here is with data agents. That's exactly right.
one thing to call out, Chris, this doesn't work with child capacities. I think we might have all known that, but just in case anybody watching wants to try this with a child, it doesn't work. You do need to have a fabric capacity that you're paying for.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Oh, look at this. This is not bad, right? Like, look, it's got, hey, it gives me a summary of it. The Dark Power BI report provides details, insight into various transactions involving different banks and resellers. The data spans multiple years, includes information such. So, okay, a good summary of what the report does. High value transactions. It's calling out the highest amount. Okay. It's linking to an actual visual inside my report. Oh gosh, this is better than I would have wanted. Okay, it's calling out frequent resellers. All right, this is a pretty good summary, don't you think?
Yeah, it reminds me of the narrative summary visual.
Yeah.
But where we don't have to put in all the filler words.
Right. We don't have to put in all the fillers. It can look at it can look at anything, and like I'm not in that report, and I'm not.
Right.
I didn't have to ask my Power BI report developer to add this in, right? Oh, I like this quite a bit.
Can you imagine if you had more trending data in your report? I bet it would be able to pick out outliers for you. That's what I'm curious about.
Oh, I bet you're right 100%. I don't know if I have a report that is specific to that. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, so that was a summary, but let's try the key insights from that same report. Let's see if it gives us something better than the summary of it. So I think the insights are where we're going to see like outliers.
That's what I'm hoping for, because I like seeing a summary of a report, but if I'm using a report, typically I want to know what's different, what's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, you're taking that next step into insights, which is, I think, what a lot of people are going to be looking at is we can get summaries for days, but getting something that can help you analyze the data itself is huge.
And I like that it calls this out right away.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, be aware of this. And hang on, let's I want to talk for a second why this is still important and still valuable. Okay, like I've heard people say, "Hey, this is if the data is incorrect, hang on, if the data is incorrect, like I don't want it to display anything." Like, no, we want people to still have to think critically about the data that they're looking at. But the number of people who can even look at correct information and come up with the correct summary of what it is they're looking at is painfully and unfortunately small. So it to me, it is better that an AI can be right 80% of the time, and people who don't know how to summarize or analyze data can leverage that 80% correct data than them looking at it and being right 4% of the time in the summarizations. It's better for the AI to get them close than it is for them to go in and be wildly wrong, right? So it's not saying it's going to be spot on, but it's going to be closer than a lot of humans when it comes to how they analyze the information. That's where this has a real strong play in my book. Not in just being 100% right.
I think it also helps you ask better questions, right? Like if I'm looking at that report and I ask for a key insight summary, I might not even think to look at certain visuals on the page until it calls it out.
Right. And if we look at the insights here, it does kind of the same thing, right? It's delving in and it's finding out. It looks like it came up with the same visuals.
Yeah, I think it might even be pretty much the same answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty close to the same answer here. Well, that's still pretty good.
It's good. Yeah, I agree with you. I think one thing to be aware of if you send this to somebody and you just copy and paste it is there's a pretty
How can
big.
you copy and paste it? Or you?
I'm assuming you can, right? At the top. Am I making stuff up in my imagination? Oh no.
So there's a
Can
download
you
diagnostics.
can you highlight and copy it? Or am I
So let's see
There's
what the
always screen
downloaded
print.
diagnostics look like. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Ooh, Jason.
Yay, Jason.
It is Jason's
Yay,
day, you know?
semi-structured data.
feed that into a notebook and figure out what it's
Yeah,
telling us.
what does this mean?
That's written by Copilot.
Yeah.
There is no way to export this. I mean, I suppose, can I copy and paste this?
I think that's what you'd have to do, unfortunately. I kind of thought there would be a copy button.
Let's see here.
Or can you imagine an email button when you could email it to somebody?
Right, or tag or share.
The only downside to that I can think of, other than what formatting it just put this into an email class, would be I've seen people do it.
So this is
Literally, I've
less than a
seen
great
them.
copy paste experience.
It's wonderful.
I've seen people do something like this, and then the person who receives it puts it in another Copilot to then summarize it further. So just be aware of the actual questions people want answered. Don't give them paragraphs that they're going to put into a different AI to summarize.
It's like one of those memes we saw the other day. I don't have time to write this 20-page report. Hey, Copilot, can you generate a 20-page report from these 10 bullets? And the person receiving it, I don't have time to read this 20-page report. Hey, Copilot, can you summarize this down to 10 bullets?
Imagine if
Reminds
they
me
just
of a
had
Weird Al.
bullets.
Reminds me of a Weird Al song, like, my people will call your people. It's now my
Yeah.
co-pilots will call your co-pilots.
Right. Have you seen that video of the AIs talking to each other? That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. So far, fairly good. Some kind of challenges here. Okay. So we did a summary of a report. We did key insights of a report, which are very same. What's a quick overview of the same report?
And
I want
you're directing this at a report, right?
right.
Mhm.
Okay. And so we're in the first part of that, ask about data and reports.
Correct.
And there's semantic models and data agents, because there's been some stuff in the chat about those. So those are coming. Stay tuned.
Right. Yeah, it's still coming.
Looks like it did it almost the same way again.
Yeah. Looks very similar.
This one's going at a page level though. You can see where it's calling out each page name. in a
Oh
section.
yeah. Each page has a different summary. And that's because I know why it's doing this. Home or One Lake. Where's my reports? Are you guys using the One Lake stuff?
Oh yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah, I love it so much. So all types. What happened to my tags? Endorsed items.
There
Right.
it is.
Open. Yeah, I think the One Lake data catalog is now our new landing page. Here's what it is, guys. You're exactly right. So my one page here has information, and it did the summary on the table down here. My data quality page is a matrix visual. Or I'm sorry, is a metrics visual. Can we call it metrics or goals? What's this called now?
I think metrics, right?
So,
Old school goals.
yeah,
Yeah.
old school goals, quality metrics. But I bet I can't read that. Where
Mm.
my overhead functional. So this is my report that I put on my overhead behind me, right, to track that, and my overhead for marketing purposes. So it's the same content, and that's why on these 4 pages, that's why the summarization of these is the same, because it's looking at the same thing over and over again, right? So
And
that
again,
would
it just
explain
goes
that.
back to what you put in, right?
Right.
Like, I'm curious for the add items for better results. Do you see items from non-premium workspaces or non-fabric workspaces? I don't know if you have any non-fabric workspaces. I'm just
Well,
curious.
that's a good question. Let's see. So if I go to reports, my dark Power BI report. Let's see. Is my dark Power BI report in it's in my reports workspace? This is not a premium. Oh, it is a premium
It is
workspace.
a premium workspace.
Is that Fabric premium workspace?
Doesn't look like it because it's a Power BI premium.
Yeah, no, it's a Power BI premium P1 workspace. How could you tell that was a Power BI premium workspace and not a Fabric premium workspace?
When you hover
Before I
over the
clicked on this.
diamond,
What's that?
when you hovered over the diamond, if you exit out of the workspace settings,
Yeah.
it says Power BI premium content instead of Fabric content.
Wow. Save me some clicks. Thank you
I
very
got
much.
you.
And when it's under trial, there's a little trial icon now.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. So it is showing premium content. Do I have a workspace that's not center of excellence? Let's see if I can find anything. What's in my center of excellence? Data visualization guide. Blah, blah, blah. Data visualization guide. That doesn't make any sense.
You're like, what's in here?
Like, this is what I published. There's no app out there that, okay. So data visualization guide is not in a premium workspace. So let's see.
You can.
Data
Okay.
visualization guide. Yep. In center of excellence.
So then the workspace that you choose at the beginning for setting the capacity truly is just the compute for the Copilot, not what items are accessible to the Copilot. That's good.
Yeah, I think you're right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this quite a bit. right? So it's going to generate it. Okay, look at this.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so I can point at reports. I can we've done that extensively. I can also point at semantic models, right? So I can go and I could choose a semantic model. There's my Data God V2.
So this gets to one of the questions. Satish, I'm awful at pronouncing names. It says, will it be able to generate insights on KPIs that are not in the report, like read the semantic model and generate output? So that's what we're trying to show here.
Yep.
What I would imagine is it's only going to be able to produce insights on the models using measures that exist in the model already.
Correct.
Like, so for example, if you just have a model with absolutely no measures and you tell me the sales, it's not going to go through and figure out what DAX code to write on the fly to make. I'm guessing, right? But that's what I would imagine is you would probably get better results if you have a measure that says total sales or sales amount or something to that effect.
Yeah,
I think you'd probably want that anyways in order to keep it be a consistent answer.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That is it. Yeah, it's got to generate the DAX query rather than the DAX measure.
But is it using the DAX measures that were inside of the model already, or is it not?
Boy, I hope so. Well, it's using nothing.
I can't provide a journal of your sales. However, I can help with specific questions related to sales. Okay, it was total internet sales amount. Okay, view the answer.
No, thanks. I don't want to view it.
Oh,
is that semantic model refreshing?
Yeah, there we go. Am I refreshing right now? I'm not refreshing right now.
Well, Copilot begs to differ.
This answer is shared from a data that may not be fully prepped for AI use. Review carefully. Accuracy may results. Learn more. And actually prepare your data for AI is exactly the thing that I wanted to talk about next. And
it's like you planned this.
Yeah, it's almost like we scripted this out.
We always do, right? During that same time we're on the
Reddit.
Whenever we're on the Reddit forum. Yep.
So here is my model. It is Data God V2. If I go in, I can prep and get this ready for AI by clicking on this button here. To prep your data for AI, turn on Q&A for the semantic model. So I have to turn that on. Okay. And then now I have to go in and look at what I can do to, it's going to like walk me through, simplify the data schema. Oh, I'm going to say, I get, this is a very complex demo model that I have to show off like aggregations, mixed mode import, composite models with import and direct query with aggregations on top of them. So maybe I need to like really simplify this. Verified answers. In a Power BI report, use the model, right click a visual and select set up for verified answer. Okay. And add in common phrases, add AI instructions. And here's where you can start to add in additional instructions for AI that sits on top of your model to provide more details about this stuff. Okay. And now we're not going to go super deep into this because we're going to like actually point to Kurt Bueller. Are you guys familiar with Kurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He is quite awesome. He has a new haircut, which we're giving thumbs up here. So Kurt looking very sharp here. He runs Data Goblin's website. He's a member of SQL BI. He does work for Tabular Editor. He's got a great YouTube series and blogs about about using AI to help AI, and it's in helping prep and create instructions in here. Do check that out. Getting your AI, your model prepped and ready for AI is going to dramatically help you on this side of the experience. Okay.
I will say that's where I see the future of like business analyst roles going, is
Mm-hmm.
more on the side of like creating those prompts, more on the side of making those verified answers, so that
Yep.
when they pass this off to business, like they might not even be the ones making the report or the semantic model, but they're the ones who know the business inside and out and can prep it for someone else to investigate.
Yeah, you're spot on, Christina. And the last thing that we can do is the new data agents. We can attach it to a data agent. Okay. Now, I've got 2 of them out. I've got these classically that have been built out there. Uh, so show me key insights. I forget what was in these data agents, so I'm kind of flying blind. Again, to Christina's point, these data agents and prep questions. Oh, I gotta republish this stuff. Yeah, all right, we're doing it live, and I have old stuff, but yeah, this whole data agent stuff. This is years old, or not years old. This is months and months old, so probably not a fair example of what that looks like. So we're not going to highlight my bad data agent producing bad results inside of here. So you're going to want to make sure you get your data agents up and running and right, and asking, ready to ask and answer good questions, right? Jared, have you had any opportunities to work with data agents as of yet?
Not yet. Honestly, that's been one that I know everybody's talking agentic, because it's fun to say the word agentic. But no, I honestly have not had a chance to work with it yet.
Okay, Kevin or Christina?
I feel like all my
No.
time is making the data pretty so that other people can use agents. I would like to play around with agents eventually, but at this point, it's kind of like you have to clean out the mud in order to, I don't know, actually get to the gold.
Yep. And that's kind of where I'm at too. And most everything that I'm working on is, we got to get things up and running, and then we're, so this is like on my timeline in probably an October-ish timeframe to dig way deeper into it, but I'll start playing. I mean, this kind of helps understand some more things. I do have a little bit of an update on the setup again, if we want to get back to that or finish your topic.
Yeah, well, yeah, just before we dive to that, I do want to hit on, that's the biggest thing we should all be aware of and focusing around our messaging, is that garbage in, garbage out was the foundational concept inside of computing 50 years ago. It remains a foundational concept in computing. Just because we have AI doesn't mean we can suddenly turn garbage into gold. Making sure that we have a well managed, well curated, defined, and governed data is now more important than ever, because now AI is able to see all of it and look at everything. And the more garbage you have out there, the more you're going to be pointed in the wrong directions. And as Christina said, cleaning out the mud becomes a big deal right now. So yes, let's make sure we do not miss that. All right, Kevin, we'll head over to your screen.
Yeah, so you see I got my screen back to what Chris's looked like. What was kind of interesting is I went ahead and turned on my F2 capacity because I'm cheap, and and I created a new workspace that I just called Copilot, and I assigned it to that F2 capacity. And then if you remember, we had a screen that said select a workspace, and I went to select the workspace, and it wasn't working. So I refreshed the page, and then all of a sudden this came up. So I'm assuming it connected to the workspace that I just created. So I don't know, like if it just picked, if you have workspaces that are Copilot ready. I don't see anything on here that would like allow me to change what workspace I wanted to go to, so I could change the capacity.
Oh,
So we may need to kind of provide that feedback that's in this preview of, what if I did want to change it? If I put it up against my F64 or something like that,
Right.
So, but then what popped up after that is once I did that refresh, this screen came up and it said, "Welcome to Copilot in Power BI."
Mm.
And it pointed out what you said earlier, right? Is about, mistakes are possible. And then I clicked our little green Get Started button, and that's when that next page came up. So you may run through those steps in setting your stuff up.
Yeah, and I think Mark is very right in saying there's a comparison to AI being a teen going through an awkward growth spurt. Yes. Aman says his also says hi, Kevin, which is very.
He may need to set up his profile.
Well, he's got it set up to say hi, Kevin, to trick the AI into thinking it's you, because the AI knows not to mess with Kevin.
but he accidentally put Kevin Chant in there.
Yeah, I knew that callback was coming, Christina. It goes back to the earlier while we were getting prepped. So,
awesome. Well, so that's the new Copilot experience. I think a lot of pluses in there. We could definitely see where it's going. We could see the quality that's there today, what people are going to start to interact with. We could see how we could turn it on and off. So if you don't want your people playing with this, you can see where that button is. I mean, no, for me, it was just on. It sounds like it's off in everyone else's tenant and capacity. So I don't know.
The other thing. I went to that Learn page, and on the Learn page, it does say it's on by default.
Yeah.
So that is really weird. Let's see if I still have this up.
You know what, Kevin? Do you think it's off because neither of us had live capacities?
Maybe, right?
Oh.
Maybe it's only on once you actually turn the capacity on. Because I've had mine paused. But it does say here, Copilot is enabled by default.
Interesting.
Administrators could turn it off, but ours showed otherwise. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Maybe they only turned it on if you had a live capacity.
Yeah. Well, that could be. So for a lot of you may experience it on by default. A lot of you, if you're in an environment where you're pausing it and you didn't have it on a capacity on when they went to make that default setting, maybe that wasn't enabled. I don't know. That's sure is an interesting one that we're dealing with. But that's where we're at. That's the state of Copilot today. I'm excited about the future. Okay. We need to wrap it up and move on. We got to close out. Who wants to take us out?
Christina.
Okay.
Copilot is cool.
Let me hang on. I got to prompt Copilot. Give me a closing.
I guess I'll just say, same thing, right? Make sure your pipes are clean. Make sure you're getting that mud out of your flows and out of your stalls, and then you can actually find some gold with Copilot. And just be aware that you will have people in your organization who want to use it today who don't understand that it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So if you are in the position where you are the one who's responsible, start prepping those conversations and start prepping your budget for next year to incorporate, hey, we need to make these models AI ready. Let's plan out some time for that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for joining us today. You guys had the best weekend ever. Peace. Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.